Hey guys, Steve here from advrider.life. What I'd like to do today is just take you through some of the luggage that I've gone with for my 2020 Africa Twin CRF1100. It's not the Adventure Sport model, it's the standard model. I've come from 2017 Africa Twin, which I absolutely loved, and it was one of those things where I got it on finance. The 3 years came up, I was like, you know, I'm not going to give this back in. I'm going to pay the lump sum and keep the bike, because I got the touring adventure pack with it, so I got all the panniers and the top box and all sorts of stuff with it, heated grips, all that kind of stuff. And it was a fantastic bike and I loved it, and I said I'm not changing it. But I went down to Kriega Honda in Shipley and saw Keith down there, and Keith knows what he's doing, and he let us have a go on one of the brand new 2020 Africa Twins, which he probably shouldn't have done, and it was absolutely stunning. I was completely blown away with it, because the sort of original Africa Twin, you know, it comes in at something like 240 odd kilos or something. It's a very heavy bike. Once you get your panniers on there and you get yourself on there, it is a very, very heavy motorcycle. And if, like me, you do like to go off-road and have a little bit of a play around and that, you do feel that weight. So anything that can shed weight, I was obviously very interested in. So I had a ride on the new one. It's awesome. Even though they've only shedded, I think, something like 23 kilos off it or something, you definitely feel it as soon as you get on that bike. You feel that it's just not as heavy as it was before. It's much more flickable. You can throw it around corners. The throttle response is so much better because it's fly-by-wire now. It's so much better now. Increasing brake horsepower, I mean, it's only what, 10 brake or something like that, but it really does make a difference. So I absolutely love the bike, and obviously I had to get one, and it's sat here behind me. But what I didn't want to do is I didn't want to go and, well, Honda obviously are giving away, not giving away, you can buy the official Honda panniers, top boxes, that kind of thing. They come out at something like £2,500 or something like that, and the problem is you can't transport them to another bike. Yeah, you're kind of stuck with them, and then you've got to sell them with the bike and that, so you're forever just buying luggage all the time. So what I wanted was some kind of lightweight solution that I could put onto the new AT and, yeah, get everything in there, enough for sleeping bag, tent, you know, cooking stuff, some clothes, all that kind of stuff, some you know, drone, AV equipment, all that kind of thing, without sticking a load of stuff on the bike and making it heavy. Because the majority of the time, I mean, I go on a few trips a year, but I don't go every week, yeah, so I don't need to invest in very, very expensive you know, panniers and top boxes and that kind of thing. So I had a look at Kriega, because I love the Kriega stuff. I've had a lot of Kriega stuff over the years, and I saw that they did this thing called the OS Base, which is kind of a strap almost that goes over the back of the tail of the bike. So I was quite interested in that, but I was unsure about whether it would actually fit an Africa Twin, and in particular the brand new Africa Twin, because if you've just got one of these bikes, you'll notice that there's not a lot of kit out there. I think manufacturers are still making them. I'm still waiting for the Outback Motortech crash bars, you know, when they come out, so I'll be getting some of those when they come out. But there isn't a lot out there that you can actually go and buy at the moment. And I think actually if you want to put a top box on there, you do have to buy the additional grab rails for the tail, which is something like 350 quid from Honda, and you don't get those with the standard model. I think they come with the Adventure Sport, but not with the standard model. So I had a look at the OS Base and some OS bags on either side to see what I could do. And what I wanted to show you here is just how I fitted it to the AT, because, as you know, everything's never straightforward. So what you're going to notice when you first take a look at the back end of your AT is they've really, you know, made this really slim, the back end of it. It's almost sports bike like, you know, there's a lot of stuff taken from the Fireblade, I think, on here. And what you realise is the mounting points to put an OS Base onto this bike would generally be you know, somewhere like two here to actually get it fitted onto the bike. But the problem is, you know, if you get hold of this, give it a little wiggle, there's not a lot there. It's probably, I don't know, 2 or 3 mil plastic. So I wouldn't want to drill into that and also put the weight of the OS base onto this small panel here, because all that'll happen is eventually over the time, as you're, you know, riding around and a bit of off-road, that kind of thing, this can potentially crack and it'll be more expensive probably than buying some new luggage. So I didn't want to do that, so I had to come up with some kind of solution for it. So hopefully you can see here, the solution I came up with was to mount the OS rack loops, which is what these things are. I decided to mount it onto the number plate holder. Now the number plate holder has this really thick black ABS plastic on there, which is really strong. Now to actually get to this isn't that difficult. So to actually get to that isn't too difficult. There's a couple of bolts just here, there's a couple down here, and then there's a couple on there. So there's about 6 bolts. And when you take those off, the whole thing kind of drops down, and then this section comes apart into 2 pieces. And then from there, you can just drill through, which I think is a 6mm drill, through it, and then you can put the OS rack loops directly onto it. So hopefully that's given you a really good idea of how to fit the OS base onto a CRF1100. This one has got 2 18-litre bags on each side. It's very secure, it's not going anywhere. I've got enough room to put a top bag on there if I want to. This setup will do me for easily a week, you know, riding around. I've got my cooking, clothing, stuff in one. I've got my sleeping bag, you know, pillow, all that kind of stuff in another, and then the top one will hold the tent, chair, you know, all that kind of stuff. So there's plenty. It's easy to take on, it's easy to take off. Ticks the boxes, it's lightweight. If you've enjoyed today's video, please give it a thumbs up, share it, give me some comments. I'd love to hear your feedback, and please subscribe to the channel because there's much more coming. Thank you.